don't say something to somebody. So, he had a lot to say that was demeaning and disparaging towards some of our players. Just disappointed, knowing that he had so much left, for the year and giving more to this team. So, we're behind him 100%. We're gonna support him however we can.
I won't say a waste of time. I don't know what that was. We would have connected more. It'll give us a better chance of winning games. So, of course, I wish all those plays connected. It's football. It's not going to be perfect all the time.
A fractured sideline, leadership, accountability, and the crucible of Cleveland. The atmosphere on the Cleveland Browns sideline had shifted from one of focused tension to something uglier, more visceral. The air, thick with the frustration of a game slipping away, crackled with a new energy.
Players and as teammates, we have to be able to gel with each other and be comfortable with each other in every situation. That takes time, that takes a lot of things. So, this team is not going to be a microwave thing.
Public, pointed dissent. In a moment captured for millions, wide receiver Jerry Jeudy turned his fury not on the opposing San Francisco 49ers defense, but on his own quarterback, the rookie Shadur Sanders. The sight was jarring, a veteran player, his gestures sharp and accusatory, berating a young signal caller in the heat of battle. This wasn't a private coaching moment, it was a spectacle, a breach of the unspoken covenant of unity that binds a team in the brutal crucible of an NFL game. The reaction was swift and seismic, rippling far beyond the stadium walls. Fans dissected the clip on social media, analysts decried the lack of professionalism, and former players voiced their disapproval. In the eye of this sudden storm, the Browns' leadership was tested, and it was defensive stalwart Myles Garrett who stepped forward, his voice cutting through the noise with the force of a clear, unequivocal message. He expressed profound disappointment in Jeudy's actions, labeling them demeaning, disparaging, and, most damningly, unnecessary and flat-out wrong. But his most critical act was one of consolidation.
It's about being more confident, whenever we are getting slow. It's about rallying the guys, and I didn't do a great job of that today. Rallying everybody together whenever things aren't going our way, and staying that.
He doubled down, making it resoundingly clear that the locker room support lay firmly with Shadur Sanders. "We're behind him 100%, Garrett stated, a declaration that served as both a shield for the rookie and a rebuke to the veteran. This wasn't merely about taking sides, it was about defending the integrity of the team's core. Garrett later gathered the squad privately, reinforcing that the outside noise would not dictate their internal reality, and that Jeudy's outburst found no sympathy within the team's walls. For Shadur Sanders, navigating the immense pressures of a starting role, this vocal, unified support from a leader of Garrett's caliber was a lifeline, a reassurance that his standing was secure even as the external chaos swirled. Yet, to view this incident as an isolated tantrum would be to miss the deeper, more systemic frustration simmering beneath the surface. Shadur's own post-game comments revealed a quarterback shouldering the burden of a failing offensive system. His frustration was palpable, directed not at one individual in perpetuity, but at a collective offensive lethargy that he felt was costing the team. "It's about being more confident. It's about rallying the guys, and I didn't do a great job of that today," he admitted.
Power to him, but I'm just trying to keep my guys focused on the game and not worried about stuff outside of it, because we're focused on what's on the
showcasing a leader's propensity for self-criticism before pivoting to the broader issue. He spoke of a need to rally everybody together whenever things aren't going our way, implicitly calling out a lack of synchronized intensity. He refused to sugarcoat the 8-26 loss, labeling it unfair and stating unequivocally that performances like that cannot happen again. This was a young quarterback establishing a standard, tired of seeing potential evaporate due to mental lapses and a lack of clutch execution. He openly discussed the lack of confidence he sensed during critical drives, the unsettled nature of the play execution, and the stark reality that nobody stepped up in the clutch. In Shadur's assessment, the game was a failure of unity during adversity, a moment where the offense fell apart instead of coming together. This context makes Shadur's individual performance all the more remarkable and the sideline dysfunction all the more baffling. Throughout the game against one of the league's most formidable defenses, Sanders displayed a poise and precision that belied his rookie status. He made audacious throws into tight windows, stood fearless in the face of relentless pressure, and demonstrated an advanced ability to read the field. There was a particularly telling moment where he stood completely uncovered, the pass rush bearing down on him unimpeded, yet he delivered a strike with icy calm. These were not the actions of a quarterback losing his grip on the game. They were the signs of a player rising to the moment.
Built on his first start last week against the Raiders.
Yeah, I'd have to look at it, Mary Kay. Obviously, he's battling like all of our guys are battling. I know there's plays he wants back, but we'll look at it. We'll correct it.
And will you start him next week?
Yes.
He provided multiple highlight moments that should have served as momentum shifters, yet they consistently fizzled due to failures elsewhere. The disconnect between Sanders' performance and the offensive support became tragically literal on the field. On the very first play from scrimmage, Sanders identified a soft spot in the 49ers coverage and fired a perfectly timed pass to where Jerry Jeudy should have been accelerating into an open lane. Instead, Jeudy, in a critical lapse, slowed his route, allowing the ball to fall harmlessly to the turf. This was not an anomaly. Earlier in the season, a beautifully orchestrated play-action rollout saw Sanders evade pressure and launch a perfect deep ball to a wide-open Jeudy, only for the receiver to fumble away a sure touchdown through a lack of concentration. The throws were elite. The results were futile. Sanders' accuracy was constantly undermined, making Jeudy's sideline eruption not just unprofessional, but profoundly ironic. He was blaming the quarterback for the offense's failures, while his own mistakes were primary contributors to those very failures. The coaching staff, led by Kevin Stefanski, also found itself under the microscope for decisions that seemed to exacerbate the instability. The most perplexing came in the red zone, with a critical chance to swing the game. Sanders, clearly in a rhythm and having moved the team down the field, was suddenly pulled in favor of a direct snap to running back Judkins, who had been struggling to find traction against San Francisco's stout defensive front. The play stalled, the momentum evaporated, and the decision left fans, analysts, and visibly Sanders himself questioning the logic. It was a risky, disjointed call that undermined the quarterback's rhythm and confidence at a pivotal moment. It fed a narrative of disorganization and suggested a lack of trust in the hot hand, inadvertently adding fuel to the very tension simmering on the sideline. In the aftermath, Stefanski faced the media with the unenviable task of addressing both the play and the public friction. When asked if Shadur had built on his first start, he offered a measured, "Yeah, I'd have to look at it. Obviously, he's battling like all of our guys are battling." But the most important question was saved for last. Will you start him next week? Stefanski's answer was immediate and definitive. Yes. This public endorsement was pivotal. It served as an official closing of any imagined quarterback controversy and a direct reinforcement of Myles Garrett's locker room message. Stefanski went further, praising Sanders' composure amid the chaos, recognizing that the rookie's poise under dual pressures, a ferocious defense, and internal strife was the standout quality of the night. For a young quarterback facing a tough defense, shaky protection, and a frustrated receiver, his response was impressive. Stefanski acknowledged, tying the quarterback's performance directly to the adversity he faced. The saga of this game, therefore, transcends a single sideline argument. It crystallizes into a multifaceted drama about accountability, leadership, and the fragile ecosystem of a football team. On one side stands Shadur Sanders, the rookie who, in the face of elite opposition, protection breakdowns, and receiver errors, demonstrated the tangible skills and intangible resilience of a franchise cornerstone. His frustration was not that of a petulant player, but of a competitor seeing his diligent work undone by the inconsistent play of those around him. He performed at a high level, put the ball where it needed to be, and publicly set a standard of accountability for the entire offense. On the other side is the complex reality represented by Jerry Jeudy. His outburst, regardless of its immediate provocation, was a symptom of a larger issue: his own season of unfulfilled potential and critical mistakes. The viral clips weren't just of him yelling. They were of him slowing down on routes, of drops, of fumbles. His sideline behavior became a distracting symbol of the offense's broader failures for which he shared significant responsibility. The tension this creates is now a tangible force within the team. Teammates, as Garrett demonstrated, are choosing sides, and that choice is overwhelmingly in support of the quarterback who is fighting for them, not the receiver who fought with him. This is a critical juncture. Unaddressed, Such ego clashes can fester into a season-defining rift, a cancer that erodes trust and fractures a locker room from within. The Browns' leadership must now manage not only X's and O's, but human emotions and professional pride. The fan base and the analytical world have rendered their verdict. Social media is alight with edited videos contrasting Sanders' precise throws with Jeudy's miscues. The narrative is clear. The quarterback gave his team a chance. The support system let him down. The pressure now mounts on Stefanski and his staff to engineer a reconciliation or make a hard decision. It falls on the offensive unit to prove it can gel, as Garrett said, understanding that team cohesion is not going to be a microwave thing, but also that public fracturing is an unacceptable shortcut to nowhere. In conclusion, the Browns' loss to the 49ers was a messy, revealing tableau. It was a game that highlighted both the brightest hope and the most stubborn flaws within the organization. Shadur Sanders emerged not as a perfect player, but as a legitimized leader, a quarterback whose arm talent is matched by a tough-minded refusal to accept mediocrity, even when it comes from his own ranks. His performance under fire earned him the unequivocal backing of his star defender and his head coach, a powerful coalition that defines his immediate future. The questions that now hang over the team are profound. Was Shadur's frustration justified? The evidence on the tape suggests a resounding yes. Should he have reacted differently? His decision to channel his frustration into a public demand for better, rather than a reciprocal sideline confrontation, demonstrated a maturity beyond his years. Will the tension impact team chemistry? It already has, but the clear, unified stance from leaders like Garrett and Stefanski can channel that tension into a clarifying moment, forcing a choice between collective purpose and individual grievance. Can the Browns get back on track? The path exists, but it is narrow. It requires Jeudy and every offensive player to match Sanders' accountability, the coaching staff to build a more coherent and trusting game plan, and the entire organization to rally around the evident talent and toughness of their young quarterback. This is a turning point. If the Browns use this conflict to forge a stronger, more united identity, one where the quarterback's fight is mirrored by every player on every snap, this offense possesses the talent to transform rapidly. But if the disconnect persists, if drops, mental errors, and sideline dramas continue, the immense promise of Shadur Sanders will be wasted, and the season will slip away under the weight of self-inflicted wounds. The coming weeks are not just about plays, they are about character. The Browns must now decide who they are, and that journey begins with a simple, unwavering choice: to fight alongside Shadur Sanders, or to be consumed by the very chaos they have allowed to surface.